9 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And attendance, you're gonna do a roll call on that?
Member Hamilton,
Yep.
Member Kennedy,
Yep.
Member Jepson, Member Cole,
Yes.
and Member Morrison.
Here. Okay, very good. And then I asked you to, everybody's seen the meeting minutes of the last meeting. And I see I should have been here. So here I sat. I'm looking for a motion to either approve or amend the minutes of August 18th,
I'll make the motion to approve.
approved by
Hamilton.
Hamilton,
I'll second it.
seconded by Cole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Public comments, I guess, if there's anyone that's not involved in the case, if they'd like to have any public comments at this time. Sensing none, we'll move on to old business. Is there any old business we'd like to discuss? I don't see anything on the agenda. Okay, new business. Case number CBA 25-1 Elmwood Coldwater Apartments. Apartments 100, 102 Taylor Street, Coldwater, Michigan. I guess we're asking the petitioner to stand up and discuss the project with us and what pertinent information. I think you want to state your name and what you'd like to talk about. Yes, please.
Good. My name is John Murphy. I represent the management company and ownership group for the Elmwood Coldwater Apartments. And what we had is a fire in February of 2024. And when we first learned of the fire, we did not understand the extent of damage. And what happened is a lithium ion battery caught fire in a storage facility on the, I'm going to say ground level. There's a little bit basement area underneath the building. Caught the electrical meters and turned into quite a pretty big fire. So what we found out during this fire was we didn't believe the damage was as extensive as it was, and come to find out it was very extensive. And in doing our due diligence, we hired WJE, who is Swiss, Janney, and Elstner Associates. And we hired another consultant group to come in and evaluate this fire for us because it was way beyond my scope of expertise. In doing so, what we realized is that there was existing asbestos in the walls and in the floors and other areas of this building. So what we had to do, being good owners, was take all that asbestos out, bag it up, dispose of it properly. We had GFL do everything exactly the way they were supposed to do it. Now that we've ripped all the flooring out, all this drywall out in 17 of the 24 units, the ceilings out, the insulation in the attics, basically we gutted these apartments. And in doing so, I think there was a disconnect between what WJE is saying, how we should rebuild this, and how the code reads for the state of Michigan and for the fire codes, and what the fire department and what the building department and the city of Coldwater believes. And that's what we're here to discuss today. The way we're looking at this is a repair. And I'm not an engineer. I'm not this guy. This is why we hire these companies. They've written documentation to you all. They've followed up from the letter from Ms. Boyle and followed up with additional documentation. And we still believe that this is a repair. This falls under the repair code. Since one, we're not changing the structure. We're not changing any headers. We're not changing any walls. We're literally taking all of the drywall that was taken down, the mechanical system that was burned up, replacing with a like mechanical system. We're replacing with the same drywall, same cabinets, same countertops. Like I said, we're not changing any structure. And in WJE's eyes, because we're not changing any structure, that we don't need to add fire suppression to this system, nor do we need the building drawings that the city officials are asking for, nor do we need to upgrade the electrical or the mechanical besides what was replaced and the plumbing that I missed that the city is asking for. We're still considering this a repair. Our insurance company, their attorneys, their engineers are considering this a repair. They're not approving the additional work, or I wouldn't even be here today. But they flat out told us they're not giving us any more money for these additional repairs because they're not necessary following the codes that are in place. So we're here and in front of all of you to say this is a repair. We're not changing anything structural. We're going back with exact like product. And we just want to get our permits approved so we can get this building back occupied.
Does anybody have any questions then, gentlemen?
I have one question. So there was no damage, no char in the framing that needs to be replaced?
There is, and that was applied for on the permit. So there were a handful of floor joists so in the basement where the fire started, those floor joists right directly in the basement do need to be. There were drawings submitted for that from an engineer, and those were part of the permit process through Premier Property Services.
So one more time again, please. I'm sorry. There were documents submitted.
Yes, correct. Yeah, as part of the original permit process.
When was that done?
I would say approximately September-ish of 2024.
Okay.
I don't know the exact date. We have a third-party company doing that work for us. I don't know exactly when without me referencing maybe some emails or so, but it was roughly around September.
Okay. So by definition, studs and floor joists are structural.
A floor joist is, but we're not changing the structure. So we're not changing any door openings. We're not changing any window openings. We're just replacing what was damaged.
Right. Okay.
We're talking, 3 or 4 floor joists at the most.
So WJE, they stated in their letter in April that they had not visited the site. This is the firm that wrote the
They have
analysis.
visited
Have
since
they been
then.
there since?
Yes, they have.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think that was one of my only questions. So there was also in August 8th, they were defining that there was not a work area defined. In the and it references construction documents. So did the construction documents just dealt with the joists that were being repaired?
Correct.
That's all it did. It didn't define a work area.
As far as I know, yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any more questions for the petitioner?
Yeah, we got 2/3 of the building damaged. And, we have copies of the building code, and it's quite logical in my mind that it's quite well written in black and white that, the buildings shall have a sprinkler system. Being that we are 2/3 of the building, it would make sense to me to follow the code, which is the state law, to the letter. It's our lawmakers that approve these codes and such, and the city is obligated to follow the state law. How are they supposed to get around that?
Well, I think WJE's response to that on the August 8th letter was section 603, fire protection of the 2015 MRCEB clearly states that repairs shall be done in a manner that maintains the level of fire protection provided. The building was lawfully in existence without automatic fire sprinkler system prior to the fire event, and therefore a new fire sprinkler system is not required to be installed to maintain the level of fire protection previously provided. As discussed in WJE report, the previous levels of passive protection afforded by the fire resistance construction associated ratings for certain qualified building assemblies must still be restored as part of the repair work. Repairing this building in this manner satisfies the minimum requirements of section 603 for the 2015 MRCEB. I'm not an engineer. What I'm doing is going off the guys that are educated, the guys that have the licenses. This is what they're writing.
Okay, but they are not an authority saying, you know,
Well,
This
that's,
is all
that's
you
really
need.
for us to discuss that. I think if just any questions in particular to the petitioner. But I think we'll discuss this, I think after we've asked enough questions.
okay.
Okay?
Okay, I have a question. What percentage of the building is actually gutted and being remodeled? You said 17 of the 24 units,
Yes, sir.
right, plus hallways and the utility room. Well, 17 of the 24 units, that's 70.8%. So it sounds like you're remodeling 3/4 of the building, not 49% or less.
I don't know how they come up with percentages. I don't know how the state or the engineers come up with percentages. I can't answer that. So I don't know if you start from foundation, do you start from underground plumbing? What is 100% of a building? So you're saying it's drywall, right? We got drywall, we got doors, we got outlets, we got cabinets we got to put in, we got insulation we have to put in. How does that all come to play on 100% of a building? I don't know.
It's a good point.
Typically,
It's a good
they
point.
classify your percent, like if you're building a building, they say it has to be over 1,000 square foot. Or a yard shed has to be under 200 to not require a building permit. Or if you hit 5,000 square foot of attic area, then you have to start doing the attic baffle type thing. So percentage of remodeling, I think, they go by the square footage. Like if you had a 2,000 square foot building, remodel 1,200 square foot, you're over the 50% margin on it. So,
Yeah, well, that's your interpretation,
yep, that's my
and that's their
interpretation.
interpretation. Any more questions for the petitioner? I'm terrible at names.
I'm John Murphy. Yeah, you're fine. No worries.
You've forgotten it.
I have one question, and that
Yes.
is the removal of the drywall. That was because you discovered the asbestos?
Yes, sir.
And you chose to change all that versus painting it, encapsulating it.
The insurance company made that decision. The insurance company said, and I can only give you the phone conversations I've had with them, is that the extent of asbestos that they found for the samples that were taken, so they took samples in every unit. Walls, floor. And they said the extent of asbestos that was there, that it made more sense for them to have it removed than for us to seal it and go with it from there. So I'm not an asbestos expert once again. It totally their choice. Honestly, I agree with it because we don't want any of our buildings with asbestos in them. I have 1,900 doors across the state of Michigan. I don't want asbestos in any of mine.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I guess if anybody has any questions for the building inspector at this time, or the fire marshal, is there any questions that would like to be?
I have another question regarding the heating system, and I don't know who to ask this question of, but it sounds like we're replacing all the heating system. Is that correct?
The boiler and, well, I'm gonna say that.
No, you don't have to. You can answer for
Yeah, the
me.
boiler was burnt during all
Okay.
of this, and there's pipes inside of that. I'm gonna just call it mechanical room that were charged to, and so all of those are here. I know there's a picture of it. I saw when I was up there, but all of that, then the permit was pulled for that. The boiler's already been replaced. That permit was approved. And we started the work on that stuff already.
The entire heating system is bigger. elements.
Yeah, because there's a giant boiler down there that handles that whole building, but Elmwood's set up with two buildings, so this is just the bigger size building. This boiler handles all 24 units, and inside of that room, that's where the floor joists are too, that got charred. Inside that room is where,
We're replacing the feed lines and return lines also.
inside of that room, everything that hit a certain temperature is going to be replaced.
About the building.
No, the rest of the.
What about the radiators?
The radiator caps themselves were damaged, obviously, I'm sorry, I mean to say obviously, but the radiator caps were damaged when the drywall was removed, so all of those are being replaced. You know, like the shield that goes over top of everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so there are no more questions. I guess then I would like to close the public hearing. And then we can discuss amongst ourselves. Unless you did have another question that happened to arise, but I think if we could discuss amongst ourselves what items, and I know you were alluding to a few things there, Mr. Hamilton.
Typically, we would permit also the building official or the fire marshal to speak to their understanding of the work done and the position that the city is taking as well.
Okay, I can reopen the public hearing. Would you like to talk about this at all, Mr. Fickle? Looks like he's got something handwritten.
Well, can't spell, so. In our opinion, seeing as how the thing has been pretty much totally gutted, other than the 6 apartments. Somebody's been in and vandalized those, so they're gonna have to be redone. So you're talking basically the whole building. The radiator heaters, they've been removed. I mean, not just the covers, all the piping's been gone. A lot of the plumbing needs to be redone. Most of the wiring needs to be redone. So it's not just a repair, it's a redo on everything. You got wires hanging, some of them are on hooks, some of them are in boxes. So it's just, the whole building is just redone. I don't say you can call it a repair when you've got to redo almost everything in the building. The floor joists that are burnt, but the rest of because the insurance company said they had to remove the asbestos, the insurance company should be responsible for making them put their suppression back in. Cause you got all your insulation, everything. I just, to me, the total.
Or maybe a different phasing.
Yeah.
They maybe could have come into you with a section of the building that we're gonna do this in phases and kept it under a percentage that you were comfortable with, I guess, maybe?
Maybe,
I don't know.
but at this point, they did the whole entire building. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's not a repair. It's a total renovation.
Okay, thank you. Fire Marshal, you want to say something? Steve?
I agree 100% with Mr. Fickle said. The only thing I'd add on to that is we have several buildings here in Coldwater, one in particular, 22 West Pearl Street, that's being essentially remodeled, and they're putting in a sprinkler system. They're bringing up the current code. The way I interpret it, the way Mr. Fickle interprets it, the 50%, 51%, when it's above that, which in this case and in that one, we feel is above 51%, that it should be brought up to current code. So that's all I got to add to that.
Thank you. I'll reclose the public hearing. And so, I think our job, or I know our job, is to either agree with the plaintiff and say that this is a remodel or a repair, or we look at the rehabilitation code, and is it, Mr. Fickle calls it a level 3 alteration, right? What all that involves is really not our, that's the building official's issue, not ours. Is it a level 3?
And
the implications of the code for that? Or is it a repair? Everybody's got their packet, so if you want to discuss it a little bit more, or if we want to entertain a motion, it's up to you guys.
I guess I'll give you my 2 cents if it's
Yes,
important.
please.
In my mind, the repair would have been just the area that was damaged. And any area that you have to make a repair in that's incremental to. Like if you have to go outside the work area, say to repair a pipe or a wire, and you have to go into the next area, the code allows for that.
Yes.
Whether it's 50% of the actual cost of the building or not, when we removed all the drywall, we've expanded the work area to roughly 78 or 75% of the building. We exceeded the 50%. Because of that fact, we're now over 50%, the work area is over 50% of the building, and we are making alterations. It qualifies as a level 3. In my opinion. Therefore, we should have to follow all the current codes. That's my 2 cents.
I'll make the motion to agree with the city on this. We've always got this 50%. And I follow that. So I don't know why this would be an exception.
So your motion is to agree with the building inspector that this is a level 3 rehabilitation?
Correct.
That is by Mr. Hamilton. Do I have a second?
I will second it.
We have a second by Mr. Cole. That this is a level 3 and agreeing with the building department. Now do we do a roll call vote then? Is that what you'd like?
Those in favor.
Okay, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I,
Those opposed? So then motion carried.
Okay, good job.
Okay. And can I then adjourn? Or do I ask a motion to adjourn the meeting?
You don't need to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, then I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.